Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Dodecahedron podcast. My name is Kelly, and I'm coming to you from the beautiful outdoors today. I'm on the east coast of Canada, and it is absolutely gorgeous out. So I decided I would sit out in my new office, aka my deck, and podcast out here. It's just so beautiful. So you may hear some birds and may hear Boston barking occasionally, but that's where I am today. Say that our knit along, the Finish That Whip KL, is over. It finished on the 31st, and I closed the thread, and I need to show you, before I announce the giveaway winner, I need to show you my project, because I did get something finished. So instead of doing the sweater, I told you I was going to do the crocheted granny hexagon blanket, and I did get it finished, so I wanted to show you. Now, let's see if I can get this all on the screen. So this is, it's a good baby-sized blanket, and actually when I did finish it, I ended up napping one day. I don't nap in the daytime, but I was so tired because I was up most of the night that I decided when he went to sleep I was going to nap too. So I lay down on the couch and I put this over me, and for a fleeting moment I thought, I should get some more yarn and make it bigger. But I'm not going to, for right now anyway. I may decide later on to change to add on some more, and I can always do that. Barocco yarn is readily available. But as of right now, I'm going to keep it as a baby blanket, and it's actually perfect for my little boy, even though there's pink in it. So the only thing that I did to finish it off was I squared it off, and then I didn't have enough yarn to do a border up here because I ran out of pink. I only had a little bit of gray and a little bit of these colors. I think I was almost done with the yellow too. So I added some half hexies. And I got the tutorial for that, again, from Bella Coco on YouTube. So little half hexies, just make your final edge straight. And so one side ended up being pink, and it worked out that the other side ended up being yellow, and that's why I didn't have much of those two colors left. So it worked out well. There's still like an edge on this side, but I think it looks cute, even though there isn't a border on it. So that again is made out of Barocco Vintage, and I'll list the colorways in the show notes after. I've said them quite a few times, but I'm very pleased with it. And actually I started this, I wanted to learn how to do a crocheted granny hexagon. I'm fairly new to crochet. I know how to crochet edgings and things, and I actually started a little granny square blanket last year, which I have not finished, but I wanted to learn how to do the granny hexagon. So these were leftover yarns that I had, and I just started doing hexagons, and I didn't know what I was going to make with it at all. And then once I got going, I was like, wow, I could really do a blanket with this. But then I quickly ran out of yarn, and then I bought some more. I bought 2 of the colors again, and then I was running out again. But I was also running out of steam for it as well. So I'm glad that I stopped where I did. And if I decide that I want to add on later, I can always add on later. I can always add on out the ways as well. So it was a fun project, and I'm glad that I learned something new in crochet. I've been kind of thinking about what I want to do next with crochet, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So for now, we're going to tuck this away, and baby boy can use it when he needs to. He already actually tested it out. He fell asleep one day on me while I was sitting out here, and I wrapped him up in it, and I put him on, we have like 2 chairs and a couch. So I wrapped him up and I laid him on the couch when I was out here, so he was nice and toasty warm. So he approves. So that's my finished project for the Whip Cal. And we did have 17 FOs in the group. So when I closed the group yesterday, I used the random number generator, And the random number generator chose Debbie Knits 5,000 actually. Sorry, I have 500 written down here, but it's 5,000. She is the winner of the lovely Twisted Daisy Fibers bag that Andrea sent. So Debbie, this will be going to you. If you can message me your address, I will get that on the way to you. And I believe Debbie's actually in Ontario, so not too far away. So this shall be winging its way to you very shortly. Now Debbie actually, I think she had like 6 finished projects in the thread, so she had a pretty darn good chance of getting something. She had 4 pairs of socks, a little baby dress, and I think a scarf as well. So well done, Debbie, for getting those whips done. I'm sure your basket is a lot lighter this summer. Now, I want to talk to you about knitting. My hair is driving me crazy already. Hang on a sec. I'm going to try this clip one more time. My hair has a it's thin, but I have a lot of hair, and clips don't usually stay in my hair very well. So that's why I usually just wear it down. Alright, so knitting. I have had a very frustrating time with my knitting since we last spoke. I was going to podcast at 2 weeks since my last podcast, but I really didn't have anything to show you because nothing was turning out the way it was supposed to. So the last time I showed you the Luna socks that I was working on, that I was almost finished with them. So I was just about to the toe of these socks when I decided to try them on. I couldn't get this color work over my heel at all. And I have never had an issue with that before. I've always done the color work on the same needle, 2.25, and I use DPNs. And that's why I didn't try it on before, because with DPNs to try it on, it's kind of sketchy. You have to get it in the right spot, and usually you can't try it on until you get to the foot. And I'm too lazy to put some yarn in it and let go of the needles for a bit. So I tried it on, and it's got quite good stretch, but I still could not fit that over my heel. So I'm going to chalk it up to the fact that I was probably knitting really tightly because I'm tired, because I'm not getting any sleep. So I'm probably knitting tighter than I usually do. So what I'm going to do, I'm not giving up on these socks, but for now they're going to go to the side. When I do start again, I'm going to go up to a 2.5 for the color work, and then back down to a 2.25 for the rest of the foot. So we'll see how that goes, but for right now these are going away because I'm still angry at them. Now that's not all. That's not where it ends. I started a sweater for my little man, and the pattern is Simon and Simona by Elena Nodal. Now Elena is someone who I have done a lot of test knitting for in the past. I used to test knit all her little girl knits, and I used to test knit pretty much all of her adult knits too. So she recently released a, I think it's called like Nursery Knits book, ebook. I'll post it and you can have a look. Anyway, this pattern, Simon and Simona, really caught my eye, and it's unisex pattern for girls or for boys. So I thought it would be a good pattern to have in my library as well, because I can always use it for a girl or a boy if somebody else is having babies or anything like that. And her patterns are really good. They go all the way up to usually like size 12 from baby. So it's a good quality pattern to have in your library. So I cast on for this sweater. I'm going to show you a picture so you know what I'm talking about. I cast on for the sweater, and I used Color Adventures yarn. Now this is actually Elena's yarn, and the skeins that I had were her very first dyeing. Like, this is before she started selling. So I cast on and I knit. It's top down, so I knit the body, and I was just about to get to the ribbing at the bottom, and all of a sudden I stopped and I looked, and the color changed very drastically on one line. Now this was one skein. I wasn't alternating skeins, which probably should have done because it was an indie yarn. But at the same time, if I have done like one row of one skein and one row of the other skein, there still would have been that giant shift. Like this was just one skein that I was knitting, and then all of a sudden there was this big color change. So it was kind of mottled up here. It's called a GNC. It's like a blue-green. So it was kind of muddy up here, and then all of a sudden it got really bright. And I just didn't want that line in there because I knew even if I switched yarns, it would still, there's still going to be the line. So I talked to my friend Michelle and said, can we dye this? If we do dye it, is that line still going to be there? Like, is there still going to be the dark and light? And I wasn't sure what to do, so I threw that to the side too. And I decided I'm going to start it with a different yarn. I'm just not confident that that yarn is right for that project, and I don't want lines in my knitting. That would drive me insane to have a sweater. I could just see him when he gets up and walking, and he's walking away from me and there's a giant line in this sweater. It would drive me crazy. So that's another frustration. But I decided that I needed to walk away from my knitting for a while, that I just needed a break from it, and that I was tired, and when things don't work out, I find that I kind of get into a season. It's usually actually this time of year, between spring and summer, I get in a season where nothing is working out. Every pattern that I try doesn't work, and I just know that I need to step away from the needles for a while, come back after I've taken a break, and things usually start working out again, and I can think clearly. So that's what I'm doing. So that brings me to my whips. I only have one whip on the needles. It's actually a new one. I did cast on for something, but it's something very simple and soothing, and that I knew I wasn't going to have an issue with. So Eric from the Sticks and Twine podcast is having a knit-along called the Movie Night Knit-Along, and it's a pattern by Ann Hansen, and it's called Movie Night Socks. And when I saw the pattern, I went and I looked through all the finished objects in the thread, and I saw one pair in particular that stood out to me, and I said, oh my goodness, those are beautiful, I need to knit those. And it was knit in skein yarn. Now skein is from Australia, and originally the knit-along was only going to be for a month, and I knew that I didn't have time to order from Skein because I actually have a gift certificate just sitting waiting for Skein to use. So I knew I didn't have time to order the yarn, so I looked in my stash because I'm supposed to be using stash anyway, and I did find a yarn that I could use. So this yarn, you know what, I didn't even write it down. I forgot. Do I have it down here? No, I don't think I do. No, I don't have it written down, so I will include it down here what the yarn is. But I did finish one sock. Oh, I just noticed a little bit of flashing there. Huh. Yep. So these are the Movie Night Socks by Ann Hansen. I'm going to put you up close so you can see the texture. If I put it like this, you can't really see, well, I guess you can. So what you had to do for the knit-along is you had to post in the group your yarn, and you had to say what movie your yarn inspired you by, or what your yarn reminded you, what movie your yarn reminded you of. So this is very light gray, a medium gray, and then like a beigey color. So it actually reminds me of Beach Pebbles, but the movie that came to mind immediately was The House of Sand and Fog. So the beige being the sand, and then the fog being the dark gray and the light gray. So that's the first sock that I've completed. I did start the cuff of the second sock yesterday. Now since, double pointed needle down, hang on, I've got to get that, because if it goes through the deck, I'll be crawling underneath to get it. So these are my sock needles. A lot of people say, oh, I'm knitting these on my such and such a sock needles. These are the only sock needles that I have. These are my carbons. These are what I use for all my socks. I have 2 sets. So I started the cuff of the next one. Now, since I've been knitting, the knit along has been extended until the end of June. So I have quite a while to get this one done, but I don't want to languish around for much longer. I want to get it done and off the needles. So that's what I'm working on when I get a spare minute. It's actually great car knitting because the pattern for the leg is, I think it's a 16 row repeat, but every second row is plain, so it makes really easy car knitting. And actually, I did the top of the foot wrong compared to the pattern. If I don't print a pattern out, I always get something wrong in it, and that was probably what my issue was with all of my knitting conundrums lately. I was looking at it on my phone, and I just thought, oh, it's just a repeat of this. But actually, you're only supposed to repeat the first row down here, so it's kind of like a rib all in one row. But I like it better this way. I like it that way. I think it looks nice. So they're super stretchy, and they're going to be a beautiful sock. So there you go. Moose sock blockers. I know people have asked about these. My dad does have, I think, 6 pairs in the works that just need to be varnished. My parents just left for Ireland. They went home to see my grandparents. So he was supposed to bring them over before he left, but he forgot. So as soon as he comes back, I'm going to get those up in the shop for you. And if you're looking for sock blockers with something different on top, let me know what you're looking for, and I'll see if I can find it and we can make them for you. This is actually a little bit different to the sock blockers that he sells. They have cutout circles all the way down here, as well as the moose. So just to let you know. But those are my socks, my whip, and that's it. So that's all I have knitting for. Oh my word. That's all the knitting I have this week. One big project. So I do have some other crafty things to talk about. This next section is So What? So this is where my obsession kicks in. I recently started to sew the baby quilt that I cut out the day before I had little man. So it was all cut out, ready to go. I'm going to post a picture so you can see what the finished product looks like, but it's blocks and they're all in rows. So I had each row put into a bag so that when I had time to sew them together, I could. So a couple of days ago, I decided I was going to start sewing. I'm having so much fun. And instead of watching shows while I've been feeding, I actually have been watching sewing tutorials. And I've come across all these different quilts, and I'm kind of obsessed, and I kind of want to make all the quilts. I've been watching ones with jelly rolls, and ones with fat quarters, and ones with charm packs. So many cool quilts, and now that I can actually see in a tutorial how they're put together and know how easy it is to put them together, because it may look hard in the finished product, but actually to make it, they're usually just made out of blocks. So in some way, you either cut them diagonally or in half and turn them around, and you can make a really cool quilt. So that's what I've been doing, and I'll show you what I have done. Well, I'll show you a couple of samples, because I had every fabric but one. And now this fabric isn't readily available in Canada, and like the one place that I could get 1 or 2 of them, it cost more for the shipping than it did for the yarn, the fabric. So most of these that I ordered, actually all of these, I ordered from the States, and I picked them up at the border when I went through. I picked them up from the border when I went to Rhinebeck, I think. Now there was one fabric that I couldn't get at the time, and I actually found it in the UK on Etsy, so I got it sent to my grandparents' house. So Mom and Dad are going to bring it back for me, so I'll be able to finish my quilt. But as of right now, this is 2 squares put together. So the one that I ordered online is this, but it's got orange stags on it. So there's 2 squares of a row, and this one has 3 together. So it's kind of like a scrappy quilt of all the different fabrics. I just love that fabric. But I'm picking up lots of sewing tips by watching the tutorials, like how to set your seams and what side to put them on and how to nest your seams. It's pretty cool. So once I get some more done, I will show you. Hopefully, actually, once my parents come back, I'll be able to cut the stag out and then zip it all together. So this is what I'm going to be using for the backing fabric too. That's a whole other thing. The backing and the binding I'm kind of nervous about, but I was nervous to start sewing it, and I'm having so much fun, and it's so super easy. So I'm very excited to get going. I should say, last year, I think it was, I decided that I was going to start sewing, and I had this sewing machine that I bought at Canadian Tire. It was like $60, and Canadian Tire is like, it's a store here, and it sells tires, it sells Christmas trees, it sells dog food, it sells baking supplies. Like it's a kind of like a gamut of everything store. So a sewing machine from Canadian Tire is kind of low end. It's not anything very fancy. So I had had the sewing machine for years, and I hadn't used it because I was scared to death of it. And I started to go to this sewing night at a quilt shop near me, and the lady showed me how to sew, and she showed me how to make a little bag, and I was doing well, but my sewing machine was frustrating the heck out of me. It was very clunky, and it would get jammed all the time. So I decided I was going to save my pennies, and I was going to buy a proper machine because I was going to learn to sew properly. So we had a giant yard sale that summer, and I sold a whack of stuff, and I had saved enough money to buy a Janome, and I got it sent to the border, and the next time that we went to the States, I picked it up, and I was so pumped to get that. And I think I did maybe one thing with it, and then it sat because I was scared to use it again. So now that I know most quilts are 1/4 inch seams, and I can use a 1/4 inch foot no problem, I'm going to be go, go, go. So I can't wait to get this quilt finished, and then maybe get a jelly roll or something and start a new quilt. There's so many that I want to try. I'm just not sure which one to start with first. So that's exciting. The other thing that I did, because I was excited about my sewing machine, was I bought a pattern last year when I thought I was going to be sewing clothes for the Wixton tank. It's by Jenny Gordy, and I'll insert a picture so you can see what I'm talking about. So I bought the pattern for it last year, but I couldn't find fabric anywhere, and it said not to use quilting cotton because it was too stiff, that you needed gauze or gauze, yeah, double gauze I think it called for. It doesn't really say in the pattern, but I've been looking online of what other people have been using. But we only have basically one fabric store here, Fabricville, and this stuff isn't really stuff that I would want to wear per se. So I haven't really found the fabric that I need, and I could order it online, but I really need to figure out what double gauze looks like or feels like and wears like, so that I can figure out what I need to order. Because I really love cotton and steel fabric, but I'm not sure if they would have the right, what is that called? The right weight of fabric, I guess, to sew it. So I actually cut out the pattern last week. I had no idea what I was doing there either, because I've never cut out a pattern before. So I cut out the pattern and I taped it all together, and it's all ready to go. I just need to find my fabric. So if you are a sewer, if you are a clothes sewer, and you know what fabric I would need for this tank top, please let me know and impart your wisdom on me so that I can learn and hopefully get my first garment under the belt this year. So that's what I've been concentrating on for crafting, I guess, these last couple of weeks is sewing. How about we move into squirrel? So on the last episode, I talked about a cardigan called Wisteria by Amy Christoffers, and it was in the new Amaruzu magazine. So the patterns become available separately on June 1st, and it is June 2nd. So I bought the pattern last night, and I had swatched with the yarn that I had talked about using, which was silky wool, which I had in my stash, but I had basically had a dress knit out of that I didn't finish. So I was going to swatch with it and see if it worked, and if it did work, I was going to frog the dress. The swatch worked, and I frogged the dress. Now, a lot of you may know this already, but for those of you that don't and aren't garment knitters, once you frog something that's been sitting there, especially for a long time, it gets very kinky, and you don't want to knit with that again when it's kinky, because your gauge will be off and you won't get you'll get a garment that ends up being too small or too tight. So what I did was I frogged the dress, and I started to wrap the yarn around my hand and then around my elbow. So I made it into these little rings, tied them off, and then I soaked them in the sink. So I laid them in the sink in I do it in cool water. A lot of people say warm water, but I need cool water, I don't want to felt anything. So in cool water with a little bit of soak wool wash, let it soak, and then what I did was I put them on a hanger and I let them dry. Now the weight of the wool when it's wet will pull it down, and you won't get any kinks anymore. So I just put it on a hanger and put it out in the fresh air to dry. So now I've got these, this is only a couple of them, but this is the color that I'm using. It's silky wool, and it's like a plummy purple. It's going to be very pretty. So now all I have to do is wind those up, and I'll be ready to start my cardigan. I do want to get my sock finished before I start this. Another thing I should say, I found that I had too many projects on the go before, and I was just getting really flustered. I get pretty anxious when I have too many projects on the go and too many things to finish up. So I cleared my needles. I have one sock on the needle. I usually like to have 2 projects on the go, but where I'm doing sewing at the moment, 1 project is really good. So once I get my socks done, I'm going to start my cardigan, and Sarah is doing the knit along with me, so she's going to be knitting it as well. The other thing I wanted to talk about in Squirrel this week is the cap sleeve lattice top. This is by Pearl Soho. I'm sure you've seen this. It's been around for quite a while. I'll insert a picture. Now, I saw a version of this on Ravelry this week, and I cannot stop thinking about it. The Ravelry username is, I think it's Ulli, U-L-L-I, and she did a version. I'm going to ask her if I can insert her picture here, but she did her version in lace weight, but doubled it. Now, as you can see with the first one, there's a lot of ribbing at the bottom, so it pulls it in, and the lace kind of goes down almost to your chest. So she changed it a little bit, and she put the lace just a couple of rows up at the top, and then it goes straight down from there, and then there's no ribbing at the bottom. She did garter stitch on the bottom instead of the ribbing to pull it in, and I just loved it. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. I checked in my stash to see what I had that I could use, and I kept coming back to my linen that I showed you last week, the green linen. And I know I had said I wanted to do the linen tee with that, but I was having a hard time getting gauge. And when I asked Julie what gauge she had, it was 6 stitches to the inch, and that's exactly what I got with my linen. So the thought for now, and I say thought because I change my mind a lot with these things, the thought is that I'm going to knit that with her modifications in my linen. Now it won't be doubled because she was using lace weight and I'll be using like a sport weight, but I think that the linen will give it just enough drape like the lace weight had, and I think it will look really good. Plus it'd be a super quick knit because it's plain stockinette up until you get to that few rows of lace. So that's the thought for this week for my squirrel. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about, gosh, we're moving along here today. I should say, we got a new minivan this week. We traded in, I had a little Hyundai Accent. We've had it for about 3 years and it's been perfect. We have one kid, we didn't need any more space. Enter kid number 2 and bam, nothing works anymore. His car seat is behind the passenger side, and when I'm in the passenger side, my knees are right up against the dashboard. We can't fit the stroller in there because I have a stroller with big sturdy wheels. We kind of need that around here. We go on a lot of trails and that, so I couldn't fit a stroller in. If we went anywhere, there's basically no room in the back seat once the 2 of them are in there. If we went anywhere, we wouldn't be able to take the stroller. There wouldn't be room for anything else other than clothes. That would be it. So it's pretty impractical at this stage. Maybe when he was older it would have been fine, but for now we decided we'd go with the minivan. And we had a minivan before actually we were married. My husband had a minivan, and we actually were able to take out the seats in the back. We had a 4-wheeler at the time, and we took the seats out of the back, deflated the tires a little bit, and we were able to push it up in and transport our 4-wheeler inside our minivan. So that's pretty awesome to me. I love minivans. It was one of the best vehicles that we've had so far. I love that minivan like crazy. So we're back to a minivan, and we've been able to take Boss. We usually go to a place called Matthew's Cove. It's pretty much like a duck pond, basically, and then there's a trail around it, and he loves going there. And he's not used to being on a lead because we used to live on 44 acres, and he used to just roam around, and when we went for a walk, he just ran in front of us. But here, where we live, you have to have your dog on a lead. So when we go to Matthew's Cove, we put a giant rope on him so that he can still run ahead, but we still have a hold of him, and he just loves it. He's over here in the corner. I don't know what he sees, but he's looking down and wagging his tail. If that's a bee, buddy, you need to leave it alone. Boss? I think it is. He's the devil for chasing after bees and then running away from them. So we have a new minivan. Traded in the car, got a minivan, and we were able to take Boss this week to Matthew's Cove. We've been there a couple of times this week to go for a walk, so that's been nice. And we were able to fit the stroller, both kids, and the dog, and still have room in the minivan. So I think this is going to work out really well for us, especially if we want to go anywhere. We'll have lots of room for luggage and the stroller and that things like that. So yes, back to what I was going to talk about. I should say, if I come up with segments and then you see them once and then you never see them again, it's because I'm still trying to figure out how I want my podcast to look. And some things I may try it and then decide I don't like it anymore. So I don't want to be repetitive every week too. I just don't want to be the same, oh, I saw that last week. So I'm going to be trying some new things, and if I don't like them, they're going out the door. So this week I want to talk about Crafter's Highlight. I've received some gifts for the baby, and I don't want this to come across as, look what I got. I'm wanting to show you fellow crafters' work and the cool things that they have made. So take it as it is, I guess. Crafters Highlight, I want to highlight other people's work, and I have a few things to show you this week. So let me see. All right, before the baby was born, it was actually on my due date. My friend Sarah, who I talk about all the time, she and Michelle, hi Michelle, took me out for lunch, and it was kind of like a mini baby shower. They had gifts for me and they took me out to lunch. It was really nice. And one of the girls that couldn't be there actually sent her gift along with Sarah. And when I opened it up, I knew what it was. I had seen them before, but I had never actually seen one in real life. So this is what she made. It's called a Dodecahedron. Now, I saw these years ago on somebody's blog, but I've never actually knit one, and it's really cool in person. So the pattern is by Celestine Sock. The pattern is Celestine Sock by Barocco. It's a free pattern. This is made with sock yarn, and it's all these little points, and you knit it as you stuff it. So I guess you knit these. I'm not sure how you knit it actually. I know you knit these sections. You kind of knit one and join the next one and knit one, join the next one, knit one, but you stuff it as you go. And she put a little egg inside that has a shaker, so it's for the baby. Isn't that cool? He's gonna love it when he gets a little bit older. He just kind of looks at it right now, but I think it's really neat. That's a really cool baby shower gift. Something unique that no one else would give. And I love it. So thanks, Debbie. I don't know if Debbie watches, but so that was what Debbie gave me. And Sarah, my lovely Sarah knit a couple of things, and they're so cute. I wanted to show you. So this is what she knit. Look at that little teddy bear. The teddy bear is actually a pocket. How cool is that? Look, it's like a kangaroo pocket. So this is the Teddy Sweater by Terry Crews. You may have seen this as a polar bear. I think the one on the pattern page, this is navy, and then the bear is white, so it's a polar bear. But Sarah made him into a teddy bear. How cute. And he's a, I was going to say speckled, but oh my goodness, my brain. He's a tweed teddy bear. That's what I'm looking for. So she made it with Debbie Bliss Cashmerino, and it's one of my favorite yarns. And then the teddy bear, I think is Knit Picks. Knit Picks tweed, I think, if I got that right. But it's super sweet. I can't wait to see him in this, especially with his dark hair. If he still has dark hair, he's going to look super cute in that. So that's lovely Sarah's knitting. Not only that, but she also knit something else really cool. Let's get rid of this stuff out of the way. She made some little booties. These are the Fat Baby Booties by Bev Galasquez. So they're felted. I have two. There we go. How cute are those little baby boots? Now, my husband's nickname, or what I call him, if you ever hear me talking about him, is Moose. She added little moose buttons to the back. How cute is that? So if you ever hear me talk about Moose, you'll know I'm talking about my husband, not an actual moose, unless I state it's an actual moose. So those are super cute. I can't wait till he fits in those either. Well, I can, but he's going to be super cute when he's in them. Now, I think this is, what did she say? I think it's classic wool, Patton's classic wool that she used. It looks like it anyway. I have a sweater made out of that color. And then she just felted them. Very cute. So the last crafter I want to talk to you about is actually my mom's best friend. She was just here for 2 or 3 weeks, and she made something for a little man, and I knew that she quilted, but I knew that she quilted for her grandchildren, but I had never seen any of them, and I wasn't expecting this, so check this out. She made a quilt, and it's gorgeous. How cute is that? So now that I've been watching all these quilting tutorials, I've been looking at it and seeing how all these pieces are put together and knowing how she did the strips and then cut the strips to make everything. It makes sense now that I look at a quilt. So it's actually backed with like a fleece, which is really cool. And then this has little music notes on it. But how cute is this? So she didn't use a pattern, she just made it up, decided what she wanted where. But I think it's so cute, and the colors are so awesome because usually it's pink for girl, blue for boy. But she just nailed it, totally nailed it. I love it. So hopefully I'll be making quilts like this soon. So lots of talented friends around, very talented. I'm just in awe. And actually I have some other crafters that had sent things for my daughter when she was a baby. And I should show you those too because the work in them is pretty awesome. I just love those little elephants. Things like this make me smile. When somebody makes a gift and you receive it, I don't know, it's just awesome. Makes me feel warm and squishy inside. Very cool. I just stare at things all the day, especially quilts. I have another quilt I'll show you next time, but I just stare at all the different pieces and all the fabrics and how they're put together. Crafters are awesome people. So I think that's all I have to share with you this week. I am on Ravelry, and you can feel free to join the group or subscribe on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube if you would like to see more. And if you have questions, feel free to post them in the question thread in the group, and I will answer them either in the group or on here, whichever I see fit. And I hope you have a beautiful week. I think we're supposed to get rain next week, so I'm enjoying the sunshine now. I don't like to be in the sun, I just like to be, I just like to be undercover enjoying. We got a gazebo for out here. It's not an expensive thing, it's kind of like another special from Canadian Tire. But so that we could sit out here with the baby because the baby can't be in the sun because he can't use sunscreen yet. So I can enjoy the fresh air out here. He loves to sit here and look at the trees and hear the birds sing and watch the birds on the feeder. So I think he's going to be an outdoorsy boy, which I love because we all are. So I hope you have a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Today and the world is waiting. Move along to the song, singing in your soul. Feel the beat, clap your hands, let it take control. All you need, all you want, are you ready to find your way?
Whoa. Good. Ah! Get! Go! Okay, seriously? Get over here! Just a minute. adjusting. Stay over there.